Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome back, superstars. How are you doing? I am Jamie Brumfield, and we are going to talk today about the R in the Smart Wins plan, but we're also going to talk about scripting manifestation. I'm going to go over with you how to do scripting manifestation, as well as talk to you about some key points to remember, things to avoid, things like that. So we're going to start out this video with talking about manifestation and scripting, which goes along the lines with visualization that we've done on all of the videos we've done so far in the series. We do a little visualization first, then we talk about the topic of the component of the Smart Wins plan, and then I open up the floor to questions. So go ahead and chime in on the chat. Let me know where you're from, what you're doing. Welcome to the video. Glad you can make it to our live. If you can't make it to our live, always chime in down below in the comment section below and let us know what kind of questions you might have. Always remember, we do have a membership club. Our membership club for the Design Your Best Future is only $8.99 a month. You can click join down below and join that membership club. We have a Facebook group where we talk about all of the topics here. Plus, I show you more coaching tools, and you get threads that we talk about, and we discuss the different coaching tools and things that we're learning in that. It's all complimentary to what we have free on this channel, but it's an additional extra perk for those who are supporting and sponsoring this channel. For those of you that are, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to put on my glasses. I see we have a couple people already joining us. Hi, welcome, and chime in if you feel like it in the chat and let us know where you're from and all that fun jazz. Well, we get started. First, let's talk about the scripting, manifestation scripting. You probably heard me talk about manifestation scripting on this channel. I know I mentioned it on our multiple ways to visualize last week. I think I did a 15 ways to visualize video last week, and I talked about specifically the idea of manifestation and scripting. So I thought I definitely want to go over that a little bit more because a lot of people don't know what that is. What's the difference between scripting and journaling? There's a big difference between scripting and journaling. And so I wanted to go over that and kind of give you an idea. So if you have your journey journal, grab your journey journal and kind of take notes, or you can always come back to this video. The idea behind scripting is that you are actually basically saying thank you to the universe or God or whoever your higher power may be. You're saying thank you and you're showing your gratitude, and then you're going into talking about what you just achieved. Maybe you bought a new house, or maybe your long-term goal is to buy a new house or have a new job, specific job that you're looking at, or drive a specific car that you're looking at. Or maybe you want to be financially free. All of those kind of things kind of go hand in hand, but it's all about the balanced life, right? But the key here is that you are taking it a step further, because when you're scripting, it's not that you want it, it's that you've already achieved it. Again, visualization is about visualizing you already having that success. So scripting is about visualizing that you already had it. Only the difference is you're writing it down. You're putting it on paper. You know, when I talk about goals, I say if it's not written down, it's just a dream or fancy or whim. You got to write it down. You got to put it in concrete. So this is another way to make it concrete, your manifestation. Say, this is what I want. I've already achieved it. Remember, your mind works, the universe works in tandem to give you what you believe you've already achieved, not necessarily what you want. There's a big difference between the two. And especially with manifestation, it's what you've achieved. So that's why you use visualization. That's why visualization is so powerful. And that's why scripting is powerful. I'm going to give you a template that you can use to try your first scripting. So if you grab your journey journal, these are the components you're going to want in your template. First of all, I always put a date on my manifestation, today's date. I put that date so I can go back and look when I do achieve that manifestation, that scripting. I know how long it took me. I know I can look back and say, I really did I really did manifest this, because you've written down a date and you know what day you're doing. If you've got it in your journey journal, of course, you've already got it sandwiched between two other pages with the date. So the date isn't necessarily in your journey journal the most important, but it is nice to have it. It's nice to see it there. It's nice to say, 6 months ago, I manifested this, and look, it's come true. It's pretty cool when that happens. You'll be like, wow. And then you'll start to understand the secret to law of attraction, which is kind of a play on words, because if you've watched The Secret on Netflix, they talk about law of attraction. And remember, with a law of attraction, it's all about asking, believing, and receiving. You have to have those three areas in working for the law of attraction to do its job and to bring and manifest and bring things into your life. You have to be able to ask. You have to know what you want, and be very specific. You have to be able to believe. You got to believe that this is something in visualization, that you've achieved it already. You've got to believe this is possible. You've got to believe that this is yours. And then receiving is the most important piece in my experience, because sometimes we're receiving things and we just don't see it. And so receiving is huge. You have to be open to receiving it. You have to be open to receiving that new gift. If you're manifesting a specific job that you want, with maybe you've worked hard to get this career, and you had to take a for now job as opposed to a career taking a for now job. And then all of a sudden doors are opening up over here and they're knocking for the specific job that you want, but you're so focused in on the here job that you don't hear the knocks, knock, 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 and you're not hearing it. Well, you have to be open to that receiving. So if you're ignoring the opportunities that are coming in for that new job, that the career that you want, right? The actual, what you're working for, you're not seeing that because you're not receiving it. You're not open to receiving it. I think that's one of the most important aspects to manifestation and law of attraction, is being able to ask, believe, receive. But receive, to me, is probably the most important aspect, or at least from my experience. I've had things thrown in my path, and literally the universe was like smacking me. The universe was like, hey, Jamie, wake up. And I wasn't paying attention because I was so focused on the for now job, or the for now thing, that I wasn't paying attention to receiving. And so I lost those opportunities, and I'd hate to see other people lose those opportunities. So being open to receive it is super important. All right. So let me give you the template. The template is, first of all, date, today's date. And then, remember that it's ask, believe, and receive. And then your template you start out with is Dear God, or Dear Universe, whoever your higher power is. You know who your higher power is. Whoever your higher power is, you're basically going to start out by writing a letter to this higher power. And you want to start out by being grateful. It's not about what I want. In fact, get the word want out of your vocabulary when you're doing scripting, because you don't want to put that in the scripting. And I'll tell you about that in a minute. But it's about being grateful, first of all, for the gifts you do have, saying, hey, thank you. Now, I personally, when I pray, I always say thank you for these wonderful blessings that I have in my life. And then I go into, this is what keep us safe, or, whatever I'm asking for. So again, with scripting, I like to start out with the being grateful as well. Thank you for this wonderful day. Thank you for my fabulous family. Thank you for all my encouraging and supporting friends. Thank you for whatever it is, right? You start out with some gratitude. And if you can tie that gratitude into what you're actually going to be visualizing, asking for, and use the word asking in quotation, because you're not really asking, because when you script, it's actually as though you've already achieved it. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But so you want to, if you can somehow tie them together, it makes it in my opinion, a little bit more powerful, but it doesn't have to be tied together. Whatever you're grateful for, just say thank you. I'm grateful for this. Be specific. Bring in, the five senses. Always bring in the five senses when you're visualizing. Always bring in the five senses when you're doing manifestation. So bring those in. Bring in the emotions. Maybe you have some emotions towards what you're grateful for. Bring those in. Start out your letter with that. Dear universe, dear God, I'm grateful for. Go into that. And then here is where you're manifesting, the piece where you're manifesting. You say something along the lines of I am so excited that I finally got the keys to my new home. Or I am so excited that I finally got the bonus check of $200,000. Or I'm so excited that I finally got that new car that I've been working so hard to receive. I received it today, right? So you started out with your scripting that you've gotten it. This is what you're asking for. This is your ask. You've already received it. Now you're going to talk about that. You're going to talk about your first day of having that. That is the manifestation piece. Be specific again. Be specific. Have clarity. Know what you're wanting. Know what you've got. Go ahead and add in those emotions. Remember that motivation, the why. Be sure to add in the colors, make it all vivid. Be sure to add in the five senses. All of this is really, really important. Bring that into your journal entry. So the letter that you're writing. And then once you've done all of that, then end the visualization with more gratitude. That's really how I do my manifestation scripting. My scripting manifestation is I basically just end it with I go into detail about how great it is that I just received it. And then I end with more gratitude. Thank you. I reflect on how I feel and all of that stuff. Some key points to remember when you're doing visualization, this is both for visualization as well as manifestation and scripting, to go hand in hand, in my personal opinion. But what to keep in mind when scripting is that clarity is key. I said that earlier. Clarity is super, super important. You have to know what you want. You don't want to be indecisive in this. You want to be very, very specific. And that's the second point that I'm going to make. It kind of goes hand in hand with goal planning, right? When we talk about the Smart Wins plan, we talked about being specific. Well, again, you're being specific here in this scripting exercise as well. So make sure that you're being specific. Know exactly what you want and be specific. Number 3 is avoid using words like I want. I talked about earlier how when you're doing the actual scripting, you don't want to say I want. I am so excited that I finally got. I'm so excited that I achieved. I'm so excited that you've already achieved it. When you're doing scripting, when you're doing visualization, you've already achieved it. It's not what your mind wants. It's not what the universe isn't going to give you what you want. The universe is going to work with you, or your higher power is going to work with you to give you what you already believe that you've achieved. Ask, believe, receive. Ask, believe, receive. Those are the key pillars. Those are the key points to the law of attraction. So keep that in mind. Move forward, just like in goal planning, be sure to set a date. Otherwise, you could wind up receiving your manifestation when you're 95, or when you're 75, or when you're 65, right? Always put a date on there. Make sure that you put a date on there. I talked about writing the check. I think Jim Carrey did it. Bruce Lee also did it, I believe. There's a lot of people who have written themselves a check. They future date it. There's a lot of people who will write checks and future date it. And that activity is very powerful. They write their check, they future date it, and then the universe and them work in tandem to make it happen. Again, with manifestation, it's not about just putting it out there and I want it. You're still doing the work. It's just your mind, your subconscious, the universe, your higher powers, they're all working in tandem to help you make it come true faster. I mean, you still have to do the work. I always say that. So many times people said, well, I'm manifesting. Okay, well, what are you doing to bring that manifestation into reality? And there isn't much there when I'm talking with people individually one-on-one. And I mean, it's understandable. You're talking about manifestation. The idea behind it is that you're putting it out there to the universe to help you bring it into fruition. You got to remember that you're doing the work too. You're working side by side with it. It's a lot easier. The universe, your mind, your subconscious, everything make things easier for you. They all make it easier for you as you're working in tandem with them, but you're still putting in the work. And that's what we got to remember. And then number 5, keep in mind your why, your motivation. Always remember your motivation. I always talk about motivation. I talk about motivation all the time. this is your motivation is key. Knowing your motivation is key. Now let's talk about being realistic for a Smart Wins plan. Your challenge to you, before I get into that, the challenge to you this week is for you to do a scripting. I just gave you a template. So pull out your journey journal and do your own scripting. Script a manifestation and see how it comes together. If you'd like maybe to see in the future, maybe a video where we actually do one hand in hand, side by side, kind of like I did those writing sprints in the past. Maybe we could do that too. Let me know in the comment section below if that's something you'd be interested in. So keep that in mind. Your challenge, your mission, should you choose to accept it this week, is to do a manifestation scripting. I've given you the template. All you got to do is know what you want and put it down and see how the universe starts opening doors for you. Your higher powers start opening doors for you to help you along that path. It's amazing. It's wonderful. All right, so that is it for the visualization piece. I know we didn't visualize in this video, but I taught you a very powerful tool to do your own manifestation visualization scripting that you can do on your own. So I hope that you find that helpful, and let me know. Always come back and let me know if it works really well for you in future videos. I would love to hear about it. All right, so now I'm going to go on to being realistic in your Smart Wins plan. So we've talked about being specific. We've talked about, which is your S. Your M is measured. How are you measuring your goal? We've talked about the actions last week. If you missed those 3 videos, you can catch them down below or check them out on the channel. So we've talked about those 3 things. Your goal this week is to have another Smart Wins plan. You want to do it for 7 days. So today would be day 1 of your Smart Wins plan for this week. And we're going to talk about being realistic, because this, in my opinion, could be arguably one of the most important aspects of the Smart Wins plan. I guess they all really kind of work hand in hand, and they all work really well together. But being realistic is super important for motivation. It's super important for keeping you on track. And it's super important for knowing that and believing that you can do it. And so being realistic is huge. Now, if you're a fan of the SMART plan, which again is perfectly fine, I just changed it up to a Smart Wins plan, which has worked with my clients. But if you're a fan of this SMART plan, the R in SMART plan is it relevant? For me, I thought being realistic was so super important that it needed its own spot in our Smart Wins plan. So I changed relevant to being realistic. And you have to really ask yourself, is this realistic? Is this something I can realistically choose or do? Because here's the deal. If you don't ask yourself this question, and if you don't know for sure that this is realistically, that all the components that you've put into your Smart Wins plan this week are realistic and achievable, then what happens is that you will now, if you don't achieve it, if by the end of the week you don't achieve your goal, your motivation to do it again next week is lessened. Your belief in the power of goal planning is lessened. The idea that even though failure is a stepping stone to success, and failure is perfectly fine, and we all fail, and successful people fail all the time. But failure, many of us just don't take it well, and so we throw our hands up. Many of us will throw our hands up and say, I was doing it. I got to the middle of my week and I knew I couldn't finish it. So I just said, you know what, I'll do it again next week. Oh, when I hear that, my heart just cringes. But I've heard it before with clients.
And I mean, it's understandable too. And I think back to when I was first goal planning, I did it myself. So it does, I mean, it really does play havoc on your mind. Oh, I can, it's kind of like the mentality of the idea, oh, I can have this cheat day when you're on a diet, or that kind of thing. Sure, we can have cheat days, but then if you go over abundant on your cheat day, then you decide, oh, I can't meet my goal this week, so I'm going to have a cheat week. Right? So it goes into that form, and all of that stems back to whether or not the goal, your plan for this week, was realistic. So to me, it's very, very important. This aspect is super important, and I wanted to really make sure that I hammered in the reason why it's important, being realistic. So the number one tip I can give you about being realistic is it's not just on whether or not the specific goal is realistic. It's that every area, all of the components of your Smart Win plan is realistic. So make sure that when you go through this and you're doing your Smart Wins plan and you say, yes, it's realistic. If you come to your third action step for this week and it's not realistic, change that action step to something more realistic. If you come to the time piece to your Smart Wins plan and it's not realistic to finish it in a week, then you need to relook at your whole plan and make sure that you change what needs to be changed to make it a realistic goal and a realistic action plan for you, and you will find more success. You'll have less failure, even though there will be failure. I will never say that there won't be failure, because there's always failure. Failure is a stepping stone to success. I can't stress that enough. But there will be less failure if you make sure that it's realistic. All components are realistic. That's it. That's all I had for you today. I wanted to go over a manifestation scripting visualization template with you so you could use that and put it in your toolbox. We did that in the beginning of this video. So if you missed it, definitely, I have people coming in and out. So if you missed it, definitely go back and check it when the video goes live on the channel. As well as we talked about, why it's important to be realistic and how to make sure that your plan is as realistic as possible by going back and making sure each component is realistic. That means the goal is realistic, how you're measuring it's realistic, the action steps are realistic, and the time is realistic. The why is realistic. That's your motivation. The is it innovative, and is the innovation that you're using realistic? And anything new on this plan from last week, is that new idea or that new plan, is that piece realistic for this week? And then of course, how you're going to celebrate your success. You're celebrating your success. Is the plan that you've got in play to celebrate your success realistic as well? So all of those factors are important. Make sure that they're important. I have a few more minutes that I'm going to stay online. I'm going to answer questions. So if you have a question for me, let me know in the chat section, and I will be here to answer your questions. If we have no questions in the next 5 minutes, I'll let everybody go. But I'm here to answer questions if anybody has any questions. We'll see you next Monday. Remember, if you are new to the channel, or if you have been considering joining the club, click join down below and join our membership club. It's $8.99 a month. It's Design Your Best Future, and we focus in on tools and tips and tricks and everything that you can use in your toolbox to balance your life and create your desired future, all hand in hand. So definitely check that out. It's down below. And I will let y'all go. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm New York Times bestselling author Jamie Brumfield, and I appreciate you tuning in and checking it out. If you're watching this on the replay, definitely let me know in the comment section below if you have any questions. I definitely will do my best to look back and see what's going on. Thanks so much for tuning in again, and I'll see you soon. Bye.